China tells military to prepare for war as many worry that an invasion of Taiwan may be imminent. So we've been reporting on all kinds of fun apocalyptic stories recently, whether it's this one we're about to get into, or it's, the US potentially attacking Iran, and or if it's Russia talking about sending nuclear weapons, into Ukraine. I mean, there's just all kinds of fun going on around the world right now. Let's put this up on the screen. Chinese President Xi Jinping orders military to prepare for war. I got to tell you, when I first came across this, I was kind of wondering if this was a real story or not. I had trouble. I mean, there was no Western outlet that was reporting about this whatsoever, like none. So I was really worried that this story might just be fake. And then I ended up coming across a few different outlets that were reporting on it. One particularly was the Times of India. I'm going to put this up on the screen now from them. Chinese President Xi Jinping called this week for troops to strengthen their preparedness for war. This was from state media in China. This was just days after Beijing staged a large-scale military drills around Taiwan. Xi made his comments while visiting a brigade of the People's Liberation Army Rocket Force on Thursday. This was again according to the state-run broadcaster CCTV. Xi said the military should comprehensively strengthen training and prepare in preparation for war and ensure troops have solid combat capabilities. So many have been worried for a while now that China may retake Taiwan. And this is actually a really apparently a complicated story over there for those who are unfamiliar, but the really like brief idea is that after the like communist revolution, excuse me, in the late like 1940s, the remaining factions of China's like former government ended up fleeing to Taiwan when the communists did in fact take over like mainland China. And now China, claims that Taiwan itself is not an independent nation or an independent state, but rather just a whole of China, while the government that is in Taiwan has said that no, we are our own separate, like exclusive country. This back and forth has been going on for a long time now. But it seems as though China is very hell bent on unifying their whole country, and they believe that Taiwan belongs to them, and they're willing to take it by force, which is what they have alluded to many times. So this is again puts up on the screen here. This is again from the Times of Israel, where it said that China, which claims Taiwan as part of its territory, has stepped up its shows of force around the self-ruled island in recent years. On Monday, Beijing had deployed fighter jets, drones, warships, and Coast Guard vessels to encircle Taiwan. Its fourth round of large-scale war games around the democratic island in just 2 years. China's communist leaders have insisted they will not rule out using force to bring Taiwan under Beijing's control. So just for full transparency, I don't exactly know all the ins and outs about why the United States feels the need to be involved in this particular conflict. I mean, I know that they're involved in so many things unnecessarily. It's the reason why our military budget is probably as high as it is. We just feel the need to be involved in everything, everywhere, all at once. Movie, great. What we're doing, not so much. So I truly don't understand exactly the why we are as invested in this particular conflict as we are. I mean, Taiwan is in an island that is really not that far from China. It seems like the US is willing to get even more involved in this than we have in Ukraine, for instance. So let's put this up on the screen here. This is from Al Jazeera, showing that the US approves a 567 million package in military support for Taiwan. And not only that, but going to our next slide from Democracy Now, it is the largest ever Taiwan military aid package that the US has ever sent. Now, again, this is from Al Jazeera here. While the US does not have formal diplomatic relations with Taiwan, it is Taipei being the capital of Taiwan, most significant international backer and arms supplier. China has repeatedly demanded Washington stop selling weapons to Taipei, which it claims as its territory. Just, quick little side note here. It is kind of funny that China claims that Taiwan is a part of their territory, but then also tells the United States to stop sending weapons to them. If that was your territory, why would you need to ask us to stop sending weapons to them? Because wouldn't that be just sending weapons to you? It's all a little complicated. It's all a little weird. But and with all that being said, let's keep going back into the article here. In April, the US approved billions of dollars in military aid for Taiwan as China stepped up military and political pressure on the island. Beijing accuses Washington of meddling in its internal affairs with its support for the democratic island. And we could probably get into several different videos about exactly all the different ways that the United States and China have been kind of going back and forth in different ways, kind of meddling with each other over in different ways, in the cyber world, in the economic realm, in this way directly with with military issues. So the US, China, I wouldn't exactly call it a Cold War because this is obviously there's two countries that openly trade with each other all the time, openly speak to each other all the time. It's not exactly like a Cold War like you saw with the United States and the Soviet Union for 50 plus years, but there is an incredible amount of tension. And there are plenty of reports out there that think that the US and China might be gearing up to going into war. Now, there's a lot of also downplaying of that, but there have been enough reports of that there does lead to some concern. This is actually what I wanted to show you from an article in The Hill from last year in 2023. It says here up on the screen that the US has warned the Chinese president may seize the island of Taiwan by force if necessary. And President Biden has repeatedly said the US would send troops to defend the island in such a scenario. Washington maintains informal ties with Taiwan and has provided advanced weaponry to the nation. Again, look, let's just call it what it is. That is insane. That is insane, okay? We are essentially involved in a proxy war against Russia and Ukraine right now. We are aiding Israel as they are gearing up to go after Iran in ways have already been kind of going after Iran, going after Hamas and Hezbollah and the Houthis. So we are seeing the U.S. trying to get involved on several major fronts here against Iran, against Russia, and now against China. To me, it just feels like I truly don't understand what they think the end goal is going to be here. The United States may have the most powerful military, may have the most powerful economy, but this is a stretch even by the United States standards. I mean, if they were to deploy troops to Taiwan to protect that island from being a part of China again, I cannot for the life of me understand why the United States would try to get into a war with a nuclear superpower over an island that is basically right next to China. Do you know exactly what it would take in order to keep China from that island? I mean, I just think that the investment that we would have to make there, I mean, just getting away from the morality of it. Because from a morality standpoint, what the hell are we? Why are we even doing this in the first place? But just from a purely strategic standpoint, it just feels like a no sum. There's just no way that the United States could ever actually win an encounter like that. It feels like it'd be a lost cause. You'd be sending Americans over there to die for nothing, for a fight that they would never be able to win. And it is really telling to me that we just send troops over there, but we're not sending troops again. We're not sending troops into Israel. We're not sending troops into Ukraine, but we're willing to send troops to Taiwan. It absolutely blows my mind. This is a really dangerous place to be in. China, Russia, Iran, and North Korea all have military alliances. To be kind of going after all of them for the most part at the exact same time, it really makes me worried about where this could all end up in a few years. And I don't think the United States is truly, ready for what they're essentially provoking right now. Thank you for watching this video of Independent Thought. If you liked the conversation, please go ahead and give the video itself a like and be sure to subscribe for future episodes on the channel.